down here! Some more! That's right. Hello, I'm Key, the talking tree. Many other organisms live on or around me. Did you know that all organisms here need one another to live? When living things depend on one another to live, we say that they are interdependent. Let's see how the organisms need one another. Some animals, like these birds, live in trees. They are safe and sheltered on the strong branch. Looks like Mummy is busy right now. Let's move somewhere else. Here's another animal which lives among the branches. Look at this! The spider's beautiful web is its home. Did you know that it is also a trap for its food? Insects are trapped in this web and they become a meal for the spider. This is a tree lizard, and it lives on my branches too. It also eats insects. See this? It looks like a nest, doesn't it? If I were a bird, I might mistake it for my home. Actually, it's a bird nest fern and is using the tree as a support. Look, it is actually growing on the tree. This is the dragon scale fern. The leaves are just like the scales of a dragon. It also uses the tree as a support to grow on. Well, trees don't just provide support and shelter to animals and other plants. They also provide food to some organisms. Let's look at some examples. This caterpillar does nothing but eat leaves the whole day. The tree will be its home and source of food until this big eater grows into a beautiful butterfly. What are these? These little insects are aphids. They also feed on leaves. The aphid uses a needle-like tube to suck the sap in the leaves. This bird also depends on trees for food. It eats the fruit. These fruit bats are usually awake at night. They are nocturnal. They sleep in the day and are active at night. They too feed on fruit. These monkeys eat many things. When they eat fruit with seeds, they help to disperse the seeds. They spend most of their time in the trees. I like this bee. It comes to the flowers looking for nectar and pollen. As it flies from flower to flower, the bee helps to pollinate the flowers. The pollinated flowers will develop into fruit with seeds. From the seeds, new plants can be produced. This is not a pretty sight. Here it comes. You won't want this to fall on you. But did you know that birds' droppings help to make the soil around our roots fertile? And fertile soil helps us to grow strong and healthy. Well, boys and girls, you have seen some of the organisms living on or around trees. Some of them use trees as their home. Others need trees as food. And of course, many of them help trees to live. They are all interdependent. Together, they make up a community. A community is made up of many different organisms living together and depending on one another to survive. Sometimes you can find many different creatures living in one tree. In that case, we can say that it is a one-tree community. So, the next time you pass by a tree, take a look. See if you can find some of the organisms you saw just now.
Hi there. I'm a crab, a ghost crab. And this seashore is where I live. It's my habitat. I'm not alone, of course. Many other organisms live here. See if you know their names. Well, have you seen them before? These other crabs sharing the habitat with me make up a population of crabs. Within a habitat, all the living things of one type make a population. Crabs are not the only creatures here, of course. The seashore habitat is filled with different populations of organisms. Together, they form a seashore community. Organisms living in a habitat have to deal with several factors. Let's look at some of the factors affecting them. The first factor is the type of water. All organisms in the seashore community can live in water. But it's not just any type of water, it's sea water. Another factor is the tide. This habitat is sometimes underwater and sometimes not. Animals here must cope with these wet and dry periods. At low tide, these barnacles are out of the water. The barnacles can tolerate the dry periods because they have these hard, protective shells to hide in. When it's high tide, they come out of their shells to feed. Other animals have different ways of hiding when it's low tide. The changing tides also affect the way in which they get air. All living things need air to live. This turtle can breathe only when it is out of water. It has lungs. These fish can breathe only in water. They have gills. Some organisms, like this crab, have special gills which allow them to breathe both in and out of water. The third factor is the temperature. It's a bright and sunny day. Yes, it can become very hot here. And on a hot day like this, the seashore community usually stays buried in the sand or hidden under rocks. When will it be over? This is the kind of day I like. Can you see these animals up and about? Isn't it nice and cool? The fourth factor is the availability of food. Like most of us, the organisms here enjoy food. They feed on different types of food. Some eat only plants, and others eat only animals. As for creatures like me, we eat both plants and animals. Animals that hunt and eat other animals are called predators. And the animals being eaten are called prey. As you have seen, The seashore habitat is affected by many factors. The type of water is one factor. The seashore habitat is also affected by the tides, by the temperature, and by the amount of food available. It's an interesting place, isn't it? Can you think of any other factors which affect our lives?